in facilitating this, for example, by creating the CSC program, the Chinese Science Council program, by having exchange. And I think if I look backwards now, it is, so the first person that came with a program like that was in 1991. He's now the director of your best institute in plant sciences, becomes another director of it. There are several of the students that came that are now full professor in institutes here. So I think the cooperation is very effective in training people that can take jobs. But on the other hand, it's also a fantastic platform for collaborations afterwards. It is fantastic to train people on one hand, on one hand that get used to a culture that is different, but also are very familiar with your own culture. But to have collaborations and to create developments, such an exchange program is an example of me being in an academic world. I think it is profitable for me. It's nice to interact. It's profitable for China, especially if they go back. And it's profitable for the collaborations afterwards.
Yes.
It is tremendous what has happened. Though I see you have institutes like, if I would say 20 years ago, the best institutes would have been unable to compete with institutes in the western part of the world. If I look at it now, this has markedly changed. It is also in part that you have some. It's a big country, China, so you can create facilities that you cannot create. Like if you have a difficult technology, I see here there are companies that are specialized in this, but it's an enormous market. If you would look at my country is by inhabitants smaller than Beijing. And so that's a very different issue, and but also that there are facilities. So they are extremely competitive. Just look at top journals like Science, Nature, or whatever in this field, then there is an enormous increase in the publications that come from China in comparison with just 20 years ago. So that is, it is innovation, and innovation, I think, especially coming back to the exchange programs, the people that I see in my field that have reached the top, they often went abroad and have this combination, are able to collaborate, are respected at both sides, and that's so that's is a tremendous good development. I think maybe the first thing I would say is that you have to very much also respect and evaluate the quality of your own things. Like it's, let me say, we have a changing world. I'm from the Netherlands, and we are proud that we produce 80 kilograms of tomato on 1 square meter. That is something different from having very nice and tasty tomatoes. But the taste has gone up. But it is, if you look at the greenhouses that came from the Netherlands, they are from a period in which energy was cheap. Now energy becomes expensive, especially with us, and then that really affects. It's something that I think you can also be proud of is your very classical greenhouses with the big thick wall and plastic stuff, no heating, but in Hohhot, Inner Mongolia, in December, January, very nice strawberries without heating, which is, you could also say, this is fantastic sustainability that you have. So don't give such things up, but keep the best of your own things and integrate this with. I can see that at least with the greenhouses, they adapt to the local situation, and that I think is good. But don't underestimate your companies. But integrating and keeping the best, and not only thinking that things from abroad are the best, so which is for sure not always true. I think to have, if it comes to famine, then it means food production. That's an important, that is, I think, collaboration on doing this in a sustainable way, not only having high production, but sharing the methods by itself is, I think, also not wasting food, which is also a good thing in China. I think it is such a balance that you have. It is on one hand technology, it's also adapting to knowing that eating a lot of meat is also wasting a lot of food. But that are also things to learn. But it's so I think with a continuous effort in breeding, but also not only to have the highest production, but to make things sustainable, I think it remains important. I think a country like ours, the Netherlands, and yours, they both, I think, are very much involved in trying to produce at least the food that you need, despite the fact that you are highly populated. And I think that requires investment. That's in a Yeah, I will speak in a while about an example, which is so I'm working on root nodule symbiosis. It is nitrogen fixation. Your body will not exist without nitrogen. You have proteins, it's nitrogen. You have DNA, RNA, nitrogen. So everything that lives requires this. And you have fantastic symbiosis that do this. And you have man that can make it, which costs a lot of energy, creates pollution. And so to see whether you can extend this to other plants, because I can give you an example. If you go to Neolithic periods and see how agriculture develops, it starts in China. What do they use? In addition to millet, they use soybean, protein rich, and it can fertilize the soil for other plants. This is also true in the Middle East, where you have lentils. It's also true in South America, where you have beans. And so it is, you see that people are smart and know that you need these crops. And so if you can transfer this to others, it saves energy, but it also means less pollution. And less pollution is an improvement in the world. No, I think we have just heard talks about this. If I listen to the people, then you have made major contributions in making these products, not only in making the products, but also making the products in such a way that the price went down. And having the price go down, that means application on a wide scale, if it is too expensive. So in this way, if you look at the solar cellars or the things related to wind, China has played the major role in the world in doing this. This is not just for China. On my house last year, the solar cellars are from China. Yeah. So I think your contribution to this is very impressive. No, I think that is very important. I think for me the collaborations are most successful if they are not only on a political level, but also if they are on a personal level. So I have a position in the University of Agriculture in Beijing. And this is something I do also because some full professors were PhD students from me. But so there is a very strong personal interaction between people. And it's not that they just are friendly, but the basis is it's completely independent. Yeah, I think that's true. Completely independent of political discussions, and that means it's not my government that tells me I have to do this or have to. It is personally, in this phase of my life, very attractive to contribute to the development of young faculties and their research programs, and I enjoy this as much if it is in China as if it is in the Netherlands, because these are global problems that we work on, not Dutch problems or Chinese problems. So so I think the collaboration is good, but is important, and I think to foster, these personal interactions makes it much more robust